Said she see me in her drink. She wanna go out, let's go have a drink. I told her that I only sip on lean. She said, what do that mean? That mean I only sip on lean. She want me on the team. She know a nigga getting green. Your ass get cremated. Your ass get left on the pavement. Pay a meal with my payment. I heard you wrote a statement. Acting like you don't know that shit blatant. Hold on, nigga, wait to the top about that.
You know what time it is.
So shit adjacent. I already knew couldn't leave it vacant. Everything I'm taking. On everything ain't talking. I hear that bullshit often. But I don't care. I got my team.
Here we go.
I put my good on screen. Some shit I can't explain. I can't explain it, cannot believe. Sometimes you gotta change. Big up in my pocket.
Cowboy Nation. It's your boy. Pro Sports. Making sense is in the building.
Said she see me in her drink. She wanna go out, let's go have a drink. I told her that I only sip on lean.
It's only one way to do it. And we do it Cowboy Nation style. Oh! Here we go. This ain't Victory Monday, baby. This ain't Victory Monday. This is Licking Your Wounds Monday. Cowboys. Here we go. I'm your host. This is Pro Sports. Making Sense is in the building. And yeah, we are here. Once and for all. On a Monday morning, on a Monday evening, just before kickoff for the Philadelphia Eagles game. Man, have Cowboys analysts, Cowboys podcasts, Cowboys, everything has been the talk of the town on today. And I tell you, these are the times where you really find out whether or not these Dallas Cowboys are made up of the stuff that qualifies us to clap our hands, to appreciate the game from the Cowboys fandom point of view. But yesterday's game, sometimes, the way they turn out, it just kind of rubs you the wrong way after you think about it. But guess what? Once again, like I've said before, this is the reason why we say that it's any given football, any given Sunday. Football is an any given Sunday sport where any team can win. You can be on cloud 10 yesterday, and today you're on cloud 1. And this is where the Cowboys are on today. And, make no mistake about it. The Buffalo Bills played a brilliant football game in running the football against the Dallas Cowboys. Did a brilliant game plan. Strategized well. They was methodical in their approach. And they kept hounding and kept pounding and hounding and pounding. And the Cowboys didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer defensively. And they didn't have an answer so much so that it is evident that they didn't have an answer based on some of the interviews that I've heard. And I didn't listen to a whole lot of them because I didn't want to hear the excuses. I just want to know that going into next week that you have an answer for these Buffalo Bills, for these Miami Dolphins. So, but before I play Michael Parsons, we really need to understand that Michael Parsons played. He played with the flu. You know, I would say it. He played with the flu, and you can tell after the interview that Michael Parsons was completely out of it. He was, um, his energy was gone. He tried to play through it, and I hope that he will be better going into Sunday's game against the Dolphins. But you can hear him as he talks that he is spent. He is done. He is whooped physically, emotionally, spiritually. Um, but yeah, he's exhausted. Michael Parsons.
I don't know. I don't really got to comment on it. Like, I don't know what happened, to be honest. Like,
Hope you guys can hear us.
yeah, honestly, it's just unacceptable at this point. Uh, there's no excuse for it. It's mind-boggling. I don't understand it. Why we're not playing well, and why we're not coming together on the road. It's something that we need to look at and get better because we got on the road next week. I mean, Hank's important, but I mean, I think it was everyone all across the board. I don't think it's just one individual, one particular thing. I think it was a group effort.
At least he's honest.
I don't know. It's just something we gotta look at. It's super frustrating for sure. Uh, well, if they do that, I think we'll have a pretty good Sunday because I think I got confidence in the guys around me and the confidence in Quinn that we'll get it together and fix these mistakes and get better from it. We always have. I just thought he did a great job just being patient. He was explosive, making people miss. He's been a good back all year. And he did a lot of great things tonight. Yeah, they were holding the whistle. Usually when you stood up, they call it pretty quick, but tonight they was holding the whistle and they was pushing foul. Something we put a focus point on after the second time they done it. But usually when you got a guy wrapped up and he's not going nowhere, they kind of call it dead. But tonight they was just letting us play. No, because we got to get better on the road. So and we got to be road warriors throughout the playoffs now, because of this. So um, it doesn't matter unless we get better on the road. I mean, it's super deflating. I think that changed the whole momentum of the game, changed the course of the game. Um, they might get three on that third down. We get off the field though, and they don't get any points on the next two drives. We make them earn it. I mean, if you just told me, I mean, I think that changed the whole momentum of the game. Forced our offense to
Yeah,
be in certain situations, not letting them get into their full game plan, things like that. Those crucial penalties really hurt. They really hurt, and
yeah.
time and time again, we come on the road and we face these crucial penalties and we just can't overcome it. That's just something we gotta look at.
He's right. He's right. He's right.
Yeah, it's just gonna have to be a mentality thing. Everyone is going to have to get better. We're going to get healthy and get ready because next week's going to be a big one.
So that was Michael Parsons, and it is obvious that there's an issue with the offensive line, man. The reason why um, they're not being effective on the road. And it's just not a road because this has been happening all year. Whether they're at home, we just won the home games, but when it really matters on the road against set defenses, hey man, the defense is just doing bonehead um, penalties. They're doing bonehead plays, and and they're doing it at the wrong time. They're doing it at the wrong time, and it is causing the Cowboys to be behind the eight ball sooner. And you should never be behind the eight ball for that matter, but it is causing them to be behind the eight ball more and more as we begin to play these games away from home. So we have a task against the Dolphins coming up this Sunday. I got Philadelphia on my mind. They're playing tonight, so and again, we don't want to be focusing on Philly or anybody else for that matter, San Francisco. We need to be focusing on the Cowboys. We need to be focusing on perfecting our craft. Um, um, you know, finding the defense, finding their identity on who they are to be. So we got to be focusing on ourselves at this point in time because you look at defenses of the old. I mean, I've been around a lot of defenses, the '85 Bears, Doomsday defense, heck, the Patriots defense, the Steelers, Steel Curtain defense, um, the Ravens defense. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Speaking of the Ravens, man, when the Cowboys, before they made the transition to the new stadium, we had to play the Ravens. And when the Cowboys played the Ravens, Ray Lewis came out with a piece of turf, and he picked it up and smelled it to let the Cowboys know it's a football game today. And these are the same things. And I know there may be little theatrics and things of that nature that's part of that of what I just said. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily a gimmick when you are the one that understands what's at stake. The Ravens came into the Cowboys stadium and they took the Cowboys' heart. This is the mentality that this defense has to have. And this is not about talking, this is about walking. This is about walking, man. This is about, hey, this is our identity. This is who we are. We bringing it to you, and we're going to raise havoc in your stadium. And these some of these players today just do not have that kind of spirit. They don't have that kind of tenacity, that makeup, you know. And I hate to use the S word, but sometimes it is what it is. These guys have to have that nuance, that thing that you cannot take courses in. You cannot be trained in. This is something that you just have to have coming out the womb. You were just a dog, and you got to have that mentality. You got to have the wherewithal to know situational football and the pivotal times that these guys are playing. You got to have that within you to know, hey, look, this is the game that we got to have. No ifs, ands, or buts. We got to have this game. And you got to go out and implement it. You got to go out and do what you know you're capable of doing against any team. It doesn't make a difference who it is. You got to go out and take their hearts. You got to go out and take their pride. You got to go out and own the stadium. Now, this is our house. This is how you become great in not just in your position, but also as a team effort. Because, like I said last night before, listen, guys. Whoever starts the game off sets the tone, whether it's the offense or it's the defense. They set the tone. Now, can you imagine after the defense was marched down the football field, the first drive of the game, and when they came off the field, look at their body language. Look at their posture. Oh, it's real. It's real. Look at their posture when they came up again out of the game for the first drive. Spent. It is just like Michael Parsons said. First couple drives, man, that did it. That set the tone. How now? I understand Michael Parsons dealing with the flu and all, and playing this sport at this level is tough on the body. Your breathing techniques are off. You're gasping for air. Okay, you're exhausted. Your bones aching. You probably if there was a lip bone, the lip bone is aching. So you got a lot going on when you got the flu. This is why I don't say too much about Jalen Hurts and what he was going through, because the reports are that he has the flu. And if you had the flu, I played this game, and if you got the flu, man, you're just out there. You're just out there. And dehydration sets in. You gotta constantly try to replenish what you're losing, the fluids that you are losing. So, the Cowboys, when it's all said and done, what are the takeaways from this game? What do we take away? What we take away from this game is you got to put it behind you now. Now you got to put it behind you. You got your tail kicked. The winning streak is over. Now it's time to start a new winning streak. Now it's time to keep your mouth shut about punching somebody in the mouth. Because when punches start coming your way, you need to have it. You want to be able to defend yourself. You want to be able to counter punch. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to stick and move, bob and weave. You know what I'm saying? You want to be an excellent counter. Now we got to come back because it's 12 rounds of boxing, and let's get it in. And this is what we're gonna do. All right. So they got to now start countering. Now they got to go lick their wounds. They got to sit in the ice bucket, get their body healed, start the healing process quicker, sooner, so that they can begin the process to whoop some Dolphins' butt when it comes Sunday. Now, one thing I will say about the Cowboys, they do rebound well after a loss. They will rebound. They will be better. They'll get after the Dolphins. The game, I'm not necessarily concerned about the Dolphins as I am Detroit. I mean, we have to go in and play our best game against Detroit. Because one thing about it, Detroit's defense ain't playing. They really. That's just a fact. The facts speak for themselves. And so, we have to get ready for that game. And that game is going to be played at Dallas, which is good. That's a good game for the Cowboys to really set the tone at home against these Detroit Lions. That's going to be a very, very good game. Kudos to the brother that came on and left a comment. A couple guys came on and left a comment. I really, really appreciate you, man. I hope all that you guys subscribe. We want to say that. Subscribe to the channel. We can really use all the likes that I can get. I'm new to doing the podcast. I don't have all the nuances and the fancy backgrounds and all that. I don't have that yet, but prayerfully if all goes well, I get it. But for the time being, I just want to come on very quickly and just give you my take on what I see moving forward for the Dallas Cowboys into the playoffs. But please subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. But yes, so they have a lot that they have to take a look at in the aspect of moving into next week. Next week is going to be another pivotal game. Another pivotal game for the Dallas Cowboys. Another must-win game. Because who knows how this is going to play out on tonight against these Eagles and the Seahawks. Because one thing about it, the Seahawks are going to come to play. They ain't going to lay down because they're trying to make the playoffs as well. So they ain't laying down. But what Eagles team is going to show up tonight? It depends on which team shows up tonight to that's going to present what challenge against the Seahawks, or what challenges are the Seahawks going to present against the Eagles to win this game tonight. And everything is at stake. everything is at stake tonight to for the Eagles to either want to take back the lead of the NFC East, or the Seahawks is trying to say, hey, look, we belong and we want you. We want to try to eye hand at the playoffs as well, to niche their name in history. Mike McCarthy. See his take on the.
My pizza gets bigger when you shakaroni.
More, together.
$13.99. Order on the
app. We got a lot going on, I tell you, man. I told you I'm new to this thing. It's Mike McCarthy.
Are you a burn tape type guy, or just a game where you go back and what your message was tonight? What was your message today? What are the teaching points for performance like that?
Definitely not a burn the tape thought process at all. We've had a chance to go through it with the players. Turn the page to Miami. So that's what Growth Monday is for. I think it's important to stay in the consistent into the flow of going week to week. And frankly, I worry more about.
You might say forget about
games where you play really well. I think handling success is a bigger challenge than getting punched in the mouth and responding. So yeah, we definitely went through a normal Monday.
Mike, Todd Archer, and when you look back at the run defense, now that you had the time to look at it, what were the biggest issues you guys had?
The biggest issue was the tackling. We lost the tackling battle, and the two glaring statistical the characteristics of our production success this year is winning the tackling battle and winning the big play opportunity battle, and we lost both those battles significantly last night. So like you look at the year, we're 11 wins, 3 losses in both those areas, the tackling and the big play. So no, that's not our that's not the norm. The norm for us is to win those, but we lost both those battles significantly last night. So they broke twice as many tackles. I think it was they had 12 broken tackles. We had only 6. So we're -6 there, and then we were -13 in the big play, which is a huge statistical area of production to overcome. But when you look at those things, we're plus, I want to say plus 87 for the year in big plays and plus 90 in tackling. So that's definitely not to our standard. And those were the 2 biggest areas I thought that impacted the game.
Was this the first team that kind of took advantage of your size at linebacker, or use their strength over your speed?
I think once again, I think the more the opportunities, and I think looking at some of the playtime distribution, these are some of the things we talked about. How can we help in that area?
And that is key that is mentioned, because I have mentioned that before about our linebacker size. Michael Parsons is not playing traditional linebackers. He's pretty much playing linebacker / DN, but he's playing mostly DN than he is linebacker. So that leaves a gap there where we had Van Der Esch and people gave Jalen a lot of flack, but this is a time when you could use Jalen Smith. This was the time, a kind of game that you need a linebacker that's going to fly around and be at the point of where the ball is coming, because we don't have that kind of linebacker. 54 is okay, but he is not a traditional linebacker to the point that he is a ball hawk. That he's going to stop the run. He's going to meet the running back wherever he is. And this is a point that I've talked about previously about the Cowboys need a linebacker that's going to roam. They need a roamer. They need a linebacker that's going to be a hybrid. But more importantly than that he is solid in the position. That he is the epitome of what Ray Lewis was to the Ravens, which means that wherever that ball, that running back is, Ray Lewis was. So we need that same kind of tenacity, that same kind of aggression, that same kind of hybrid, that same kind of kick tail linebacker that's going to make sure that the running back know that when you come through this hole, here I am, there I will be. And it is going to be a problem, you coming through this hole. And this is all the Cowboys need. In essence, yes, we did not have Hank on this coming or last Saturday, yesterday. We didn't have Hank, but hopefully moving forward, we'll have Hank. Hank has a high ankle sprain. If anybody knows anything about high ankle sprains, man, it's a lingering, and it can be very, very, very hard to get over that high ankle sprain. Very, very difficult to get off that and get that healed within to a week or two. That's just not enough time for a high ankle sprain. And as a big man as Hank is, to get him up and going and ready to get that push that he needs on those lower extremities to be an impact. It's just going to be one of those things that the Cowboys are going to have to make a decision. Are you going to go after a Dominican Sue, who's capable, who is healthy, who can jump into that slot, and then or are you going to let somebody else claim him? Why would you do that? Why would you allow somebody else to claim a Dominican Sue? Why would you allow anybody to try to claim Martavis Bryant? Because there are talks about that as well, about a team may try to claim Martavis Bryant off of the practice squad. If you got Martavis Bryant, you have an opportunity to get a Dominican Sue. These are players that you go get. Whoever is on that practice squad, hey, look, bye-bye. We need to make sure we get the right players in here at the right time to play Super Bowl football to get us prepared and keep us going in the direction that we're trying to go. I don't know what the Cowboys are thinking, but, these are some of the things that I've been thinking about or have been saying for quite some time now.
But, yeah, I mean, it's when you look at our defense the last 3 years, the run defense is going to be attacked because of the way, way our strengths line up, because of the amount of pass rush that we have. So, and they attacked it. And then really the biggest thing for me from a team perspective, I thought we played poorly above the 2.3. They were clearly better than we were at the end of the play, over the course of the game in all three areas. So those are the things that we identify with.
John Machota with The Athletic. Mike, why do you think that you guys had so much success passing the ball last couple of months and it didn't work in this game? Is it just everyone has an off day?
Well, I mean, it was a vision defense. Felt that going in similar game plan to Arizona.
Got the red cup.
Played us out there early in the year. So you got to be cleaner. We weren't as clean as we like to be. But if you look at the down and distances, we were our third down and distances were favorable, for the most part, and we all know how well we've been on third down for the year too. So it was we wanted to play in the rhythm. I think the ability to sustain drives was really the mindset going in. I went into the game expecting to go the long way. The shot play that we had on the second play of the game was something that we had on them, and it was there, and we didn't convert it. But we knew we weren't going to get too many opportunities to go over the top, just with the depth of their safeties and the way that they play. So we needed to be extremely.
So this is a point where, in my opinion, that you have to change up some things. You got to make them change what they're doing. And so that means that you have to adjust. And when they came back from halftime, I didn't see any adjustments whatsoever against what they were doing defensively against our offense. Now, the defense is the same way. No adjustments were made. Nobody wanted to tackle. It got to a point, and I think that exhaustion probably set in with Michael Parsons to the point where he just didn't have it anymore because of the flu and because of the energy that he was spending trying to get his legs under him, trying to get his breathing techniques down to begin to, make an impact some kind of way. But they were just out there playing bump and run. You bump them, you bump us, and we're going to keep on running. You're not going to tackle us, but you're going to bump us. Okay, well, you're bumping us, and you can see when they were doing the brotherly shove, their version of the brotherly shove, it was effective. The Cowboys had no push whatsoever on defense. No push. So if you don't have no push, you don't have any threat. You're not a threat. If you don't have no push, you're not a threat. And we can do with you whatever we want to do with you, we can just move you to the left. We can move you to the right. We can push you back. We can bring you forward and then control you. They was doing whatever they wanted to do with the Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys defense didn't have an answer. Now, I don't know if Hank was his absence was that big of an issue. But they have some other players, I'm sure, that they can try to plug in to help that nose tackle position out. But it was just between the nose tackle being out, between us not really having a bona fide and solidified linebacker who knows where the point of the ball is always is as it relates to the running back. That hurts. That hurts.
Detailed and efficient, and the play in that type of game. And then I thought the weather was great. We got a huge break in the weather the first half, but it did. It got a little wet there in the second half too. So we just weren't where we needed to be.
When the weather was pretty good when the game started and you guys won the toss, did you ever think about taking the ball just because?
I did talk about it. Yeah, absolutely. There's the wind. And I just, it's part of playing in that part of the country. I mean, the wind at, whatever time I got there, 11 a.m. was.
Man. Something about these things, man, you got to go through all that.
At 11 a.m. I was taking the ball. Then by the time we got out there for pregame and just the way that the wind shifted and everything, put me in more of a deferred mindset. And like I said, I think it clearly was the right thing to do because, especially the way the game went, having the potential extra series in the second half would have benefited us. So,
well, see, here's where I disagree. I disagree from this standpoint of mine. For one, you're dealing with some weather that is inclement weather. You're talking about the conditions. You're talking about the noise. And you're talking about you want to be able to set the tone. One, the Dallas Cowboys defense has not been playing consistently in a way that it would promote you to put them on the football field first. That's number one. Number two, the offense has been playing their butts off, which means they are hot. They ready. The engines are revved up and they're ready to roll. You put the offense out first. Let the offense set the tone. And let the defense, when the offense has finished imposing their will, have finished driving down the field to score, now you put the defense in, and guess what the defense is going to do? The defense should piggyback off what the offense did. Strategies and minds, sometimes you over-strategize, and then let's not even talk about, and hopefully we'll talk about this, let's not even talk about Mike McCarthy holding, you got red flags and you didn't throw not one the whole game. So you're holding red flags and you didn't throw the red flag on the Diggs fumble, which could have gave us excellent field position to go down there and score. Just some things, observations that I've seen.
Like I said, I think we got to, based on the weather forecast, and I know we were all watching it. I mean, the weather in the first half was tremendous. I thought we got a break there.
Sorry, this is the Athletic. Mike, what do you feel like your team is kind of more built to play from ahead? And I know you just talked about the coin toss, but like even aside from that, do you need to really get ahead in order to be at your best start of the game?
No, I don't think so. I think we're way past that of coaching younger teams, of coach teams where you felt that way because of some other characteristics of your team. But I think our productivity over the course of the year, speaks to a team that can win anywhere, any way, from ahead, from behind. So I don't think I think the way that they play, particularly in the ability to play in a winter climate, with them getting ahead definitely benefits them more. But this thing started with running a football. We knew both teams were going to have to run the football and go the long way, 10+ play series and so forth. And they did it at a very high level, and we did not.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5. Mike, 102 penalties for you guys this year.
I'm sorry.
You have 102 penalties this year. Yesterday, 5 of them, 3 of them really killers there. At this point in the year, how come that's still an issue for you guys?
Well, a number of penalties I would live with.
5
I think
for
if you look at
48.
the numbers, if you're 5 or less, I mean, you're
5 for 48.
obviously in the top, 2 or 3 in the league at that per game.
Unbelievable.
Again, the timing, the penalties were, and just like we've had time to go look at them. Whether you agree with them or don't agree with them is irrelevant. But the timing of it was clearly tough because they extended drives that eventually resulted in points. So we definitely got to be more disciplined there.
At this point in the year, is that more on the players? Is that the coaches? How does that?
Oh, I think it's not on it. It's on all of us.
Yeah, it's a combination of
We
both.
got to be better in those spots. But it's the same thing. It's the play style and the discipline. That's the thing you're always trying to balance. You want to be aggressive. They called 5 personal fouls in the first half. So I think that shows you what kind of game it was, down there on the field.
Right.
But for the most part, I don't know how many. I don't know how many they had. I know we had 6 called, 5. We had 5 that they used. So
6 total, 5 penalties
three more critical
were enforced. The first 15-yard penalty, their 15-yard penalty on Dak
Well, the
Prescott
report is,
hit
he
was
will definitely have a
negated.
chance to play this week. So that's the outlook. But he was in there getting rehab today.
Talk about, I think last time you said you got to figure out why we're not playing where we need to on the road. What have you figured out so far?
Did I say figure out?
You didn't say that. You didn't figure that out. It just
I think
happened
it's obvious.
24 hours ago.
I think there's definitely, a gap between the way we're performing on the road compared to at home without a question. So I think you got to look at those things, and there's some other things I'll look into. But we got to play better on the road. I mean, you can't get to where you want to go being a 500 team on the road.
Cannot, man.
You're not going to be playing playoff games at home with that record either. So it's definitely a focus for us.
Joe Tragan, WFA TV. Mike, this question is about mentality, because there were a few of the guys who talked about not playing with the right money in the locker room afterwards. As a coach of professionals, is that something that you have to handle a certain way to?
Now, this is what I've been talking about, and I just said this a minute ago to you guys, that you got to have the right mentality going into hostile environments. Because one thing about being a Dallas Cowboy that we must understand, and the players must understand this, and I know that I ain't got a lot of views, but whoever sees it, I'm sure they're going to say something. You have to, as a Dallas Cowboys player, understand that every single team, 17, 18 weeks, whatever it is, are trying to take your head off. Every game, you're going to be despised. You're going to be hated. The media is going to hate you. Social media is going to hate you. And if you don't have thick skin, if you don't have tough skin to deal with it as a Dallas Cowboy, to get out here week after week and own up to what you signed up for, then you're on the wrong team. You're on the wrong team. Other teams going to hate you. Players from other teams are going to hate you. They're not going to like you. And they're going to try to whip you. And as a matter of fact, every game that the Dallas Cowboys play need to understand, the players need to understand that every game is circled on on some team's calendar if they're playing you. Your team is circled on their calendar. I don't care who it is. Miami has had you circled on their calendar for 16 weeks now. It started when they got the schedule. We circle in Dallas. So if you don't understand that by now, this is probably the wrong team for you to play on, because we need dog mentalities, and we need dog mentality that's going to own up to who you are, what you signed up for, week after week after week after week. You're going to be dogged out. You're going to be into a contest. You're going to have, you played a team that didn't win. It was 0 at this point, 0-15. If you played a team that was 0-15 at this point, trust me, that 0-15 team has already had you circled on the calendar at the moment they got the schedule. And now that you're about to play them, they saying they gonna whoop you. You gotta have that same mentality. That's what I'm saying. You can't be talking about you're gonna punch somebody in the mouth and you're gonna continue punching. Man, that talk is cheap. You stop all that barking because ain't nobody biting. You know what I'm saying? You need somebody that's gonna bite. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need. You know what I'm saying? You need that. I need you to lock on somebody like a pit bull, something lock on them, or anaconda, wrap them up and squeeze all the life out of them. You know what I'm saying? Then after you do that, devour them. That's what we need. We need dogs. Give me the Steelers 2010 defense. This is what we need. This is the mentality that you need in order. I got my Deion Sanders hands up, man. Put them down. We need that kind of mentality on a football field, week after week after week, and that mentality alone is going to cause you to get to the Super Bowl. Let's go. Talk to me, Mike.
Trying to get the most out of them. Do you have to say anything?
Absolutely. No, I think emotional and mental realm is where the goal is. There's nothing that we can't do physically. We've shown that. That's why when people refer to our football team as talented, I take it as an insult. We clearly understand the physical capabilities of our football team. It's documented. So, but the emotional and mental growth is where the really good teams turn into a great team. So, you're always working with development.
My father founded St. Jude Children's Research Hospital
because
he believed
you can't cut the commercials, man.
You're always working with development.
Was that a case of your team not being, I don't want to say mentally tough, but not being emotionally mature to try and handle the success that they had leading up to that week?
I get the narratives. And I respect everybody's approach and digging into it.
This is what we need, man.
You can play well at the end of plays. There's things that you emphasize each week, and when you play 11 out of 14 games at a very high level in two critical areas of production that you need to win, and then you don't play well. And that's why I think.
Come on, Mike Carter, like you see it, man. This is what we need, man. We don't need that one, man. We don't need that one, but we need some dogs, man.
A really good definition of things we want to work on, specifics, the techniques within those realms.
We got to get the right dogs in here.
Sheets and how our guys look at it. So we did not perform to our standard above the 2.3. So that's
what we need. That's what we need. We need that. Come on, Mike. That's what we need.
Want to win that battle, we do not. It's part of the 2.3. Those are variations of things that we look at. So, we'll clearly emphasize what we do every week. We need to be better because we know that big challenge in front of us.
Well, Mike McCarthy is being real modest. He's been real nice. I guess you got to be that way when you're trying to coexist with Jerry Wayne Jones. But like I said, man, we need that. We need that. Yeah, that's what we need right there. We need that every game. Not every game. We need that. Oh man, that sounds like music to my ears, man. That just, oh my goodness, that just sounds like woof. Can we get these kind of dogs? Can we get them? Can we get them dogs? Them dogs. Can we get them, Mike? How can you get them in that mentality to impose their will on defenses, on offenses, week after week, week after week. How can we get that done? That's the key to success. It's the mentality of your team. The mentality of your team. That's the success. That's the attitude. You know, attitude creates longitude. Attitudes creates longitude. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in how you approach it. The Cowboys should have came out. I've been trying to get DeMarcus Lawrence to come out with that sledgehammer for a long time, and he ain't came out with that sledgehammer yet. It's time that he come out with that sledgehammer, because you was the one that ran your mouth and got the team in this situation based on what you said about the Philadelphia Eagles. Just let that go. Philadelphia lost. Okay, cool. We won the game. Cool. Now we done with Philadelphia. We did what we had to do. Now let's move on to the Buffalo Bills and let's take care of them Bills, because you know we got some business up over there. I didn't say business. I said we got some business over there we need to handle. But you didn't do that though. You got punched in the mouth. You got bang. You got punched in the mouth, and you ain't had no defense to. You wasn't bobbing and weaving. You wasn't sticking and moving. You wasn't doing none of that. You wasn't doing none of that, brother. You got knocked out. In the words of Ali, you out, sucker. First round, knockout. Come on, Mike.
Well, let me talk first. You know, we talked extra earlier about the size of your linebacker. Let's talk about of using in a game like that, using Mike at linebacker. You know, he's done that.
But Michael plays linebacker.
Definitely. But it's personnel groups, tendencies, all those things play into it. But that's a very fair question. Yeah, absolutely.
Teams taking advantage of your nickel defense. You got the speed on the field with their size and running the ball against your nickel.
Well, I would say it's clear to their approach, but I mean, you have to give. You got to give them some credit. I thought that, the runner was on fire last night. We had a hard time tackling.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned all the things that the Bills have done or did well last night in terms of kind of the 2.3, 10 back, so forth. Does it kind of reinforce some of your guys' messaging as a coaching staff, as a team? Because a lot of what they did right are the things that you guys each and every week try to do right. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to get the other end of it. That's why it's so important to do it yourself.
Well, yeah, but also, I don't want to take away credit from them. I mean, if you just, I understand what the record are, but I know the video I watched the last 4 or 5 weeks in particular, they, we felt they were playing at a very high level, and and they've lost some players too. So, as we know, when you lose a Trayvon Diggs, you lose late. Sometimes it takes you a week or two to get things going. I think that's kind of what they've gone through.
I said that's fair.
I think they're playing at a high level. So
that's fair.
I felt we were playing at a high level too, coming off of Philadelphia, and we didn't play to our standard.
Is there a time as a coach you get the red flag and you don't have the benefit of a review upstairs, or having a blind throw it because they're hurting up the line, and it would be a big call if it was to go in our direction?
Absolutely, we call it a blind challenge. I mean, there's definitely a time for it. But I think it's like anything. It's just being in that position now for as long as I've been in it, you need information. There's different levels of information that you're looking for, whether it's to call the timeout or take the blind challenge. And frankly, just based off the information that I had in that moment, it didn't validate a timeout or a challenge. But that's our process. And I mean, so clearly the benefit of it for them.
Let's hear that one more time. Let's hear that one more time.
The video I watched the last 4 or 5 weeks in particular, they we felt they were playing at a very high level, and and they've lost some players too. So as we know, when you lose a Trayvon Diggs, you lose late. Sometimes it takes you a week or two to get things going. I think that's kind of what they've gone through. So I think they're playing at a high level. So, and I felt we were playing at a high level too, coming off of Philadelphia, and we didn't play to our standard.
Is there a time as a coach you get the red flag and you don't have the benefit of a review upstairs, or having a blind throw it because they're hurting up the line, and it would be a big call if it was to go in our direction?
Absolutely. We call it a blind challenge. I mean, there's definitely a time for it. But I think it's like anything. It's just being in that position now for as long as I've been in it, you need information. There's different levels of information that you're looking for, whether it's to call the timeout or take the blind challenge. And frankly, just based off the information that I had in that moment, it didn't validate a timeout or a challenge. But that's our process.
Well, see, this is the time that you have to get out of analytics. At some point in time, you have to get away from analytics and go with common sense. Get away from analytics, and get into common sense. Because common sense, IQ, says that they are in a hurry-up offense based on some information that they have seen from the previous play. Now, let's keep in mind, they're already winning the game. They're winning the game. So what other reason would there be for them to be in quick mode? Because there's one word that they use to get up on the ball after they've realized that, hey, this might come back to get us if we don't get on this line and hike this ball. So you got to have IQ. You got to be in touch. You got to be astute. You have to be at a place to get away from analytics, to understand the moment. It's either one or two things: throw the red flag, call timeout. Call timeout. Consult with the player who was involved. Do you think the ball came out? Do you think that it is a fumble? Yeah, I think it's a fumble. You go with that. You got to have that intuition as a coach, and I'm not saying Mike McCarthy does not. Coach McCarthy does not have that intuition as a coach to be able to identify said things. But I do believe that some point in time, you got to use your gut feeling. When you see certain things, and you've seen these things before, after a play, they're hurrying up for something because they believe they fumbled. Timeout, red flag, whatever. Okay, so these are some things that we probably got to learn from moving forward.
I mean, so, clearly the benefit of it for them, his back was turned to our sideline, on their sideline, the reaction of players around, all those things. That's all part of information gathering, information from the box. So information from our sideline. So at that time, I didn't feel like I had enough information to call a timeout or the challenge. But we called a blind challenge.
So your people up in the booth, they only had the feed for TV, right, Mike? They didn't have any other.
Yeah, the feed from the TV didn't even do a review until after they ran a play. All right, so Mike McCarthy has given us definitively what he's seen in terms of he didn't watch the film yet. This is right after the press conference right after the game. He's given us what he saw, both from a schematic point of view, an analytical point of view, and an intuitional point of view, based on offense and defense, the defense's mood, what they need to correct, the penalties and mindset moving forward. And the offense is just, it's not that much we can say about the offense to that degree, because the offense is feeding off the defense. The offense was put in a bad position from the jump. Being behind the 8 ball is not a place that you want to be in when you have exotic blitzes coming at you in the first quarter, in the second quarter, in the third quarter. I mean, the defense ears were pent, and they didn't. Now, what I will say is they didn't do any adjustments at all to help the offense to correct some things to be a part of this ball game to be effective. Well, listen, guys, I want to talk a little more about this Miami Dolphins matchup, but the game is getting ready to come on, and I want to be intuitive in terms of what is about to take place on this game, and plus, I want to place my bet. So we want to come back, man, and do it again. And listen, man, how about them Cowboys? We'll talk about the Miami Dolphins, which is the focal point right now, moving into next week. Let's get ready to fry, to get us a fish fry. Let's get ready for a fish fry with the Miami Dolphins coming up on the schedule for us to play. I do think that the Cowboys is going to dominate that game. I think that's going to be a game that's going to be one in the trenches. I think that Pollard is going to have a heck of a game. I think Dak Prescott is going to show why he is still MVP for the league. And nobody is still doing it the way the Cowboys is doing it. So, kudos to all the teams that won yesterday. But now it is time for us to see who's going to win this Eagles and this Seahawks game. Be back after the game very, very quickly. Hey, man, how about them Cowboys? Cowboy Nations, Cowboy Nations, Cowboy Nations, Cowboy Nations, Cowboy Nations, Cowboy Nations. Listen, man, stand up and make some noise. You know, this is what we do. This is how we roll. This is the mindset that you have to be in as a Cowboy, because you're going to get a lot of haters. I just started the channel and I'm already getting haters. I'm already getting haters already, man. You know, and hey, it is what it is, man. You take the bitter with the sweet, and you make you some lemonade with it. Because you know, the nature of the game is the nature of the game. You know, they love to hate on you when you're a Cowboy. You know, it's America's team. So, you know, hey, man, you just got to do what you got to do in the process so that you can continue to be that dominant force that you can be as a Cowboy. You know, so, hey, Dallas Cowboys have the work cut out for them coming up. Miami Dolphins are up next. And, hey, like I said, once and for all, man, once and for all, hey, look, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We're not the best. I'm not the best. I'm not nowhere near the best. I'm not, you know, one of those gurus. I just do me. You know what I'm saying? I'm real. I'm a sports fanatic. And, hey, man, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. Smash it. Crash it. Kill it. You know, and be back soon. How about them Cowboys? Here we go! Oh. Yeah. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Martavis Bryant, Michael Parsons, D. Long, Jack Martin, get better. DeRon Bland, get ready for a pick six on Sunday. Take it to the house. Cowboy Nation, I'm Roe, making sense. Roe Sports. This is what we do, and this bud is for you. Take a drink and don't blink. The stream is coming to an end.